for Parks Casino. And as that which is in front of me says, Australian Pink Floyd is coming on September 7. And I remember saying to myself, September 7, that's so far away. You know, here we are. Today is the 24th of August. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend. This summer is just totally blown by, totally blown by. But the good news is we're a lot closer to Australian Pink Floyd coming to town September 7 at the Excite Center at Parks Casino. State-of-the-art entertainment venue inside Parks Casino in the Philly Burbs. Great place to see a show. I don't think I'm allowed to tell you yet, and I better exercise some restraint, but there's an event coming up at Parks that will feature me. And it's not a mingle event. Well, it'll be a mingle event, but it's not a mingle event per se. I best not say anything else. JB Smoove, Best of the Eagles, Dustin Lynch, The Fray, the Juicy Scoop podcast with Heather McDonald, comedian Kev Herrera, the acapella sounds of Straight No Chaser, all coming to Parks Casino. Go to parkscasino.com, buy your tickets. This is how you win. You got to be 21, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Holy smokes. What just happened? Oh my gosh. So the convention ends. I think by any objective measure, it was a huge success for Democrats and for Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm going to say in my opening commentary on CNN today that the only hiccup was the Monday night timing issue, where an 81-year-old who happens to be president of the United States had to speak after midnight. But the DNC was otherwise flawless, right? Tightly scripted, looked good, visually pleasing. They hit the themes. She spoke very well with both poise and conviction. I'm just saying that from a political matter, it was a success. Just as the RNC, which seems like ages ago, had been immensely successful for Republicans. Both, and I appreciate this, the old advance man in me looks at these conventions with a critical eye and appreciates the staging and the way they can make the trains run on time or not on time, as was the case Monday night. So I don't need to tell all of you, the race has completely changed in the span of a month. Trump, who once looked invincible, now looks like he's trailing. Interesting, the polls, and I'll get to those in a moment, you know, they show it's all neck and neck, and really what transpired is that Harris has taken the race back to where it was before Biden imploded in the debate. Both in the national surveys and in the battleground states, it's all, you know, neck and neck, game of inches. And then yesterday, two things happen. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. drops out of the race and then appears with Trump. I had a long day yesterday because I had to stay on top of all of it, having gotten up really early earlier even than I normally do, to do some CNN work. So I needed to stay dialed in, constantly rewriting what I wanted to say on television today about it. It was amazing. It was amazing. Look, I have lots of thoughts about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I've interviewed him several times. I hosted him for a town hall at the outset of his campaign in the burbs of Philadelphia. He's a smart guy. Yes, there are positions that he takes, of course, that I disagree with and that are really out there. And the bear, I mean, come on. But I must say that I have an admiration for his communication skills, and to watch him come out yesterday and to speak seemingly extemporaneously. I don't think there was a prompter. I'm sure of it. And I didn't see any notes. He just came out for 45 minutes and said, essentially, I'm getting out of the race. I am going to support Donald Trump, although there's sort of a nuance there in terms of how he's doing it. But while many wish to just dismiss him as an anti-vaxxer, he's got something to say. And I've said this from the get-go in watching his announcement speech by now, probably a year and a half ago in Boston, which was a 90-minute proposition, also without notes. But he's got a pitch, and it's a populist pitch, and it's about the excesses of big government and about censorship and about endless wars and about environmental factors and the, what does he call it, the chronic disease that has plagued our kids. And I must say, I sit there and I shake my head yes for a lot of what I hear him say. So he also put into that litany yesterday that he offered when he was speaking solo. Trump was initially in Vegas, Kennedy was in Arizona, then Trump goes to Arizona, and then they united. And he also talked about the ascendancy of Kamala Harris, sharing some of the same themes that you hear from Trump and people on Fox about how this was all, I don't know if Bobby said coup, but that was the same pitch. I don't share that view that it was a coup and this was all like an inside job. I think that Democrats would have been thrilled to stick with Joe Biden if Joe Biden weren't so frail and diminishing not only physically, but also in the polls. I mean, I don't see it the way that they see it. But it was interesting that he also sort of equates, I don't know if he used the word lawfare, but the lawfare that he sees having been orchestrated against Trump with the efforts by Democrats to deny him ballot access and keep him off the debate stage. And I definitely think there's truth in that, especially in the latter. And I've made the point on radio that one of the incentives, a big incentive for Biden and Democrats to get that debate scheduled with Trump. And remember, we were in a different position then because now people look at it and they say that was a mistake for Biden because of Biden's performance. But one of the incentives was that if you go back just 2-3 months in time, Kennedy was at about 15% in the polls, and he was beginning to get ballot access. And at the time, it was the Commission on Presidential Debates, controlling the whole dynamic. And what are their criteria? 15%, 270 electoral votes, a path to 270. So I think that the Biden campaign, fearful that Kennedy was going to take vote from them, said to Trump, you want to debate? Let's debate right now, but no Bobby Kennedy. And that's what happened. It was like Shazam. They put that deal together overnight. I think it was largely because Trump was so eager to debate Biden, and Biden wanted to do a debate because he needed a momentum shift, which he didn't get, and he did not want Kennedy. And then thereafter, the DNC and its affiliates attacked Bobby's ballot position, forced him to spend a lot of money defending against their ballot challenges, and it really nags at him. So I think those were contributing factors to him then getting on that stage with Trump last night in Arizona, which was quite a spectacle. Although I have to say, I watched it on Fox because I knew they would have it. Then I went over to CNN to see if CNN would take it, and they did once it got rolling, and then they dipped out of it before it was at its conclusion. It's like Wayne's World, sometimes watching these Trump rallies in that the broadcasters just don't have their act together. And if you watched, you know what I'm speaking of. Like it's blurry and the camera shots are all over the place, but it was still a spectacle. Pyrotechnics, and I've never seen Trump stand aside for anybody else the way that he did for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And Kennedy, in like 5 or 10 minutes, if you watch nothing else, because I know I can't keep track of your comments that are flying by me. Okay, I'll look at them later. I usually do, but my hunch is some of you are probably saying like, why even take this guy seriously? Why even talk about it? Yada yada yada. He's an anti-vaxxer. He threw the bear in his trunk, or whatever the hell you're typing to me now. Watch when Bobby comes out on stage with Trump, and Trump stands aside, and Kennedy then says, essentially, like, here's why I'm here. I have a lot of disagreement with Donald Trump, but here is where we have common interest. It was very well said. Better said then Trump makes his points. Because Trump, it's so largely unfocused. I can't even call it thematic. It's the same old lines. But Kennedy comes out and he's got something to say. Discipline is neither of their strong suit. But if it were, there would be just no stopping either of them. Yeah. And what was it? It was the same as what I'd heard earlier, but it was just honed. It was healthy kids, endless wars, censorship, government regulation, Ukraine in great detail. Now the question is, what does it matter? What does it matter? Because Kennedy's vote has diminished. It's now below 5%. It's not at the 15 to 20 that it was before. And I don't think you can say that, and not I don't think, I know you can't say whatever share Bobby has is now going to go to Trump. I'm not saying that. I would never say that. But I want to show you something. This is Nate Silver's data as of yesterday. I hope it's not in reverse. So let me tell you what I want you to look at as I flash this. I want you to look at the thin margin between Trump and Harris. Okay, Harris leading, margin of error kind of stuff. Look at the margin between them in the 7 battleground states, and then take a look at where RFK Jr. was as of yesterday. I'll just pause for a moment. Look at Nevada. Look at Nevada, which is at the bottom of the list. Harris, 44.8, Trump, 44.7. 0.1% separates the two of them. And now look at RFK, 4.5. The takeaway from this is that Kennedy's vote, whatever it may be at this stage, in every one of the 7 battleground states exceeds the margin that separates Trump and Harris. Again, I'm not saying that, okay, therefore just take his vote and move it over to Trump's column, but it shows that in such a close race, if it stays this way, and hell, it's been this way for the entirety of it, so why would we think it wouldn't? Maybe this matters. Maybe this matters. I know that Democrats will continue to lambaste Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and try and tie his baggage to Trump. Look, he's endorsing Trump, right? I don't think you can hold a candidate responsible for the people who endorse them. They'll try. And baggage, whoever's baggage it might be, hasn't diminished Trump so far. He's got plenty of baggage of his own. But this is the issue. This is the issue. The issue is, can any of this vote translate? And does it translate more to Trump or to Harris? It remains to be seen just how much of a presence Kennedy will be in the Trump campaign. I mean, maybe last night was a one and done. I don't know. I think there's some value to add, and it is just one more intangible. It is one more intangible. I was looking at the print edition of the New York Times today, and maybe this is all that it'll be worth. So on the right side, page above the fold, it's Kamala Harris and her ascendancy and her speech at the DNC. But now on the left side of the fold, it's a story about Kennedy getting out of the race and endorsing Trump. If nothing else, Trump won the news cycle yesterday and into today, because suddenly here I am having written a commentary largely focused on Kamala Harris and the success of her convention. And instead I'll be talking about, in part, that, but the Kennedy factor, and talking to Ron Brownstein and Alex Castellanos and asking the question of, what does this matter? What does this matter? Next up, Labor Day, and 1 week later, it is the only presidential debate that's on the calendar. So, as the thumbnail said for this conversation, another twist in the tail. Another twist in the tail. I want to mention something else. Yesterday, I received a total non sequitur now, having nothing to do with any of that. Yesterday, I at long last received five potential book covers for the editorial cartoon book, Smerconish, if we're going to go with that. And each is distinctly different. They're very cool. And we're pairing them with different titles, some suggested by listeners, one suggested by TC that I fancy. And like this weekend, I need to make a decision so that a week later, close to Labor Day, we'll be able to take orders for the editorial cartoon book. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a quality publication. All of the covers are great. You know, it's like choosing among your kids. Any one of them would be great, and any of the titles would be great. But I just wanted to give you that progress report on where it stands. So, yeah, really cool stuff. Really, and I think we're on schedule for. So, I wouldn't do it on Labor Day because it's a holiday, but somewhere a week away, 10 days away. And I think what we're going to do is I think we'll have a reveal. I think we'll have like a reveal party for virtual for newsletter subscribers. So that I thought of that last night. Like maybe I'll show all of you the book jacket first, and then celebrate. So, all right, poll question today. And if you say to me, Michael, didn't you just ask that? Yeah, I did with different wording. Does RFK Jr.'s withdrawal and endorsement of Donald Trump change the race? Does it change the race? Well, Michael, how much does it change the race? I'm just saying, does it change the race? Does it matter? Does it matter? Go vote at Smerconish.com on today's poll question. That is what it is. Have a great day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on CNN in short order. Okay? Like this. How about some thumbs up? Some likes, please. Couple of likes. See you, gang.